This video, I'm going to show you how to take your dinking way to the next level. Professional players do subtle things and maneuvers that set them way ahead in the points. The first thing we're going to cover is a prerequisite that we have to know in order to be a successful dinker, and it's being able to identify the difference between an aggressive and a dead dink. If we stick our foot one step in the kitchen and draw an imaginary line all the way across, all of this colored in space across the kitchen line is called the pressurized zone. That's where we want our dinks to land. Anything on the other side of that line is called a dead or defensive dink. This is an aggressive dink. Look at the trajectory of the ball and where it lands near the kitchen line. He has to hit a defensive shot back. Another one. Bam. This is a dead dink or a defensive dink. Watch where it lands. So it really allows him to dictate where he wants to go with it. He can go this way, he can go that way, puts me on the ropes. In higher level play, all of the balls are generally landing in that pressurized zone, being aggressive. However, as soon as one ball is set up in the middle of the court as a dead dink, it allows the one team to dictate and get way ahead in the point. The next thing we're going to cover is taking time away from our opponents. Generally speaking, whoever takes more steps in a dink rally usually loses. Watch my footwork compared to his. Since I have a stable base and I'm leaning in and taking balls out of the air, it's allowing me to take time away from him and leaving him like he's a puppet on a string, going this way and going this way. It's very hard to get a shot down eventually if you're hitting here and then hitting here compared to the person who's just stationary. The way we take balls out of the air is not this. On that one, as the ball was traveling to me, I had to reach out and then I flicked it with my wrist. That's not what we want to do. The proper way is right when I hit a dink and I think it's going to give my opponent trouble, instead of being here, I hit a good shot, I want to lean in after it with a limp wrist like this with my backhand. I want to be getting this ball as quickly as I can. I don't want to wait for it to come to me and then lunge for it. That's too much time wasted. When I took that ball out of the air, I had a very limp wrist and I pushed with my shoulder like this. I didn't smack it with my wrist. When you do that, the ball goes up and you're initiating a firefight. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to get the ball to land in the kitchen so we can control them, moving them left to right. To take this one step farther, when we're taking balls out of the air with our limp wrist, we can't get much topspin by just going like this. The next step is we want to imagine we're on a motorcycle, watch my wrist, we're pulling or using the throttle, bam. This is going to naturally put topspin on the ball. So look, this to this. This paddle angle alone will naturally put topspin on the ball when it hits off. To build upon this, we can even add in a little wrist flick above it so it accelerates the topspin, making it a near impossible shot for your opponent to get back. For the forehand, it's very easy, just having your paddle out in front, and we think same thing, lifting with our shoulder. When we get comfortable with that, lifting with the shoulder, but adding a little bit of wrist. As we know, the kitchen is only 7 feet on either side. So if I stand back here, it allows my opponent to be very aggressive while they're dinking. However, if my ready position is now out in front, where I'm shrinking the kitchen, I'm taking away probably 2 to 3 feet, which is going to force my opponent to hit shallower dinks that aren't as aggressive. The best way to put all of this into action is to just dink straight ahead using your whole side, but no speed ups are allowed. What all of this translates to in actual match play is speeding balls up out of the air. So we do that by gaining an advantage while dinking. So if we can take a ball out of the air that's down here, I don't want to speed that up. But if I take it out of the air and let's just say I push it that way and it forces my opponent to pop up the next ball that's up here, that's the ball I want to attack. So getting these balls out of the air sets up an attack. Bag! The way we flick that ball out of the air is very simple. All I'm doing is I have my limp wrist and I'm making contact like this. Now when I want to attack, I use my wrist and I think of just snapping it forward. Don't overcomplicate it with trying to add spin and come over the top. You're simply poking it right at their chest. You should always take and capitalize on that opportunity out of the air when you have it. While we're at the kitchen line, the footwork is super important. If you don't do it right, you'll get behind in points. Wherever the ball is, we should only take one step in that direction to try to get that ball. We should never try and hop or use 2 feet to hit it. We step and drag this other foot if we need the extra reach. The reason we do this is we can then push off and get back into position. So that drag is really important. We could take that hop step to cover ground, but this is the vital part. We take that hop step, we always have to go into that sliding step. We can never, to hit, it would have to be, see the difference? That way you're in balance and stable, hitting a controlled shot, and you can still push off to react to the opponents. This last tip is super easy to implement and goes a very long way. It's when all 4 players are at the kitchen line dinking, try to make 2 players hit the dink instead of just 1. What do I mean by that? If the opponent and Ridley are dinking cross court back and forth to each other, Ridley knows he's going to hit it, and that guy knows he's going to hit it. However, if the opponent starts putting balls all in this area, especially if they're deep, aggressive dinks, it might cause some confusion on our team on who should hit it. Pretend my bag is Ridley's partner. Watch where I put the dinks to maybe cause confusion on who takes this ball. Okay, I try to pull him wide to start. That opens up the middle. Who's getting it? Who's getting it? Pull him back out wide so I'm not predictable. Who's getting that one? Who's getting that one? Pull him back out wide. Who's getting it? A little more middle. Whose ball is this? Oh, why did my bag not take that one? All jokes aside, at the lower levels especially, dinking doesn't last too long as is. And I bet your opponents haven't played too much together, so there's probably some confusion on those middle balls. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe.